us not presume that that Constitution that most of us, that document that most of us consider to be divinely inspired, should be lightly changed or turned over, or significant elements changed.
Hear, hear.
I noticed that. Who else?
Right over here. There's quite a few questions, but right down here.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Lewis. My name's Louise Smith. I'm from Apple Valley, and recently I've just been outraged. I watched a thing that was sent to me by email on YouTube yesterday, and it was our President Obama saying to a group of people that he was born in Kenya. And we're supposed to have a citizen be a president. And another thing I wanted to ask was that I've heard that he's considering forgiving all of these upside-down mortgages that people went out that couldn't qualify for a loan and bought a $400,000 house that's now $200,000. I'm sorry.
All right.
One quick question each.
To the first question, there are people who want to continually raise the question of whether the president was born in this country or not. That there's been lots of documentation that would suggest that the answer to that is that he was born in this country. I'm not 1,000% sure of that, but, but it's almost beside the point in terms of our being able to really solve the problems of America and turn the country around. The first point is he is currently the elected President of the United States. We're going to deal with him for the rest of this term.
Represent your constituents and impeach him. Stand up for the America like you say you want to.
If you'd give me the votes, I would, but I've got one vote.
If you said you were going to impeach Obama, you'd have everybody here.
My friend, you only have one vote. Yeah, you had a second question.
Yes.
No.
Was about the upside-down mortgages. Is he
Yeah.
really going to consider forgiving them?
The mortgage market problem across the country is disaster, and our area, in terms of unemployment and vacancies and so on, is as bad as anywhere in the country. But you can't have the federal government come in and turn all of that upside down by way of the taxpayers paying for it across the country. Obama does want to change the law in terms of making it a lot easier to subsidize those circumstances where homes have been foreclosed and to try to prevent foreclosure. But he's using a backdoor system that essentially would cause the federal government to become the mortgage whore. It's not going to happen.
Okay, right over here.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Jerry. How are you?
Hi.
Russ Blewett from the city of Hesperia.
Hello.
I know you fought very hard against the Desert Protection Act. I happen to be the planning commissioner for the entire high desert from Cajon Pass, Nevada border, 29 Palms,
Yes.
Kern. And we deal with the federal government in lots of issues. 84% of our land is under federal control.
Yep.
We have an autocratic state where the Fish and Game just killed about 500 jobs that we were trying to develop in this county because they're demanding a 5-to-1 ratio for protection of the damn turtles.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Excuse me. I hope it doesn't. Okay. There's 2 acts that need to be changed, and I know all these other issues are big, but these are bread and butter issues. Desert protection, and we need to have some modification of that pathetic, and I have to blame it on Richard Nixon, Endangered Species Act, which is the biggest job killer that's out there. And we need jobs. All these other issues are very important, but right now, for the economic health, we need jobs. What can we do about jobs?
You're correct. I spent very much of my early career in the Congress fighting against the Desert Protection Act. Dianne Feinstein told me early on, Jerry, I don't know very much about the desert, but I'm going to go forward with this bill anyway. We intensely addressed the content of her bill in the House when it was on the House floor. I personally carried a dozen amendments that allowed for grazing, that allowed for human access, etc. Every one of them successfully passed because we had bipartisan support. But when they were through, they didn't change that at all. They sent it to the Senate, and it went to the president's desk and became law. She's still about it. Dianne Feinstein presently wants to put in a huge number of additional acres over near 29 Palms, near the Marine base. And I'm attempting to fight that battle with the Department of Defense right now because there's a need for our ability to continue to have coordinated training between the National Training Center for the Army at Barstow and the 29 Palms Marine Base. If you take away all that territory, you could destroy the most important training and retraining opportunity we have in the entire world. So that's a battle that's just ahead of us, and we must continue it. Now, if you change the Congress entirely, yes, we could go back and in a major way undo what we did in the Mojave. The Endangered Species Act speaks for itself. It has been implemented in a fashion that is a tool for people who are no-growthers in our society, who want the government at the federal level to leave the local government alone and absolutely destroys the opportunity to use investment effectively. I would hope we can in a major way change Endangered Species Act, but it's going to take a different Congress than this one.
Thank you. I'm looking around the room, and just about everybody wants to ask a question, and I'm going to try to get to everybody. I do ask everybody one quick question so Jerry can answer it real quick, and that way everybody can have a question and answer. So I will get to you as long as we can do this.
As long as I can stand up.
Okay, Jerry, I don't even have a question. I just have a statement.
Yes, sir.
I've been a Republican all my life. I hate Democrats. But right now, I hate everybody in politics. And
I understand.
And all I want is, don't tell me, show me.
Congressman Lewis, I have voted for you every time you've been on the ticket since I've lived in this desert since 2000. And my question to you is this. There's a lot of foreclosures going around, people losing their homes.
Yes, sir.
And we are one of those. And there's no help. None whatsoever. They say they have plans, but their plans they don't mean the paper that they're written on. What are you going to do to help people stay in their homes as far as lowering the interest on these loans and getting people to stay in their homes so they can keep working and keep commuting?
Well, first of all, the tragedy of our home mortgage circumstance has been in the making for a long, long time. And there's plenty of blame to go around, Republicans and Democrats. Over many, many years, all of us have believed in the American dream. And over many, many years, policies, especially at the federal level, began to be designed in a fashion where almost anybody could walk into any home, whether they could afford the mortgage, whether they had an employment history, whether or not it was even sensible for that family to go in. We raised the price of houses because of that. And the federal mortgage system was ignored by many of us who believed in the American dream. As of this moment, there are no serious plans on the table that will allow us to effectively deal with turning around this mortgage package. I mean, the interest rates are better today than they have been in a long, long time. The 15 and 30-year rates are in the 4 to 425 levels, but that doesn't make a bit of difference for people who are already stuck or upside down in a $500,000 mortgage. But the federal government right now is not, outside of the money that was passed in that whole stimulus package and the bank bailout package, they're not going to be doing anything to speak of in just the short months ahead to turn that portion of the economy around. It's one of the tragedies of our current circumstance.
Hello, I was just wondering what
Yes.
you've done for my Second Amendment.
I think everybody in the room knows where I am and what I've done in connection with that. I believe intensely in the right to keep and bear arms, and I'll fight to my last breath to make sure that no one takes it away. I see a lady way in the back.
Yeah, there's people all over.
Okay, okay.
People are going to start getting upset. I'm trying to get to everybody in order.
Yeah, will the guys who are organizing this make sure that this is true? I'm serious. I would like to have you invite me back sometime, and if we carry this on too much longer, you're going to walk away from me. You'll leave tonight and say, don't bring that guy back.
Jerry, I guarantee you always have an open door here, and we'll definitely have you back, and thanks for coming.
Good evening, Jerry Lewis, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
My question is, and why I think one of our problems with just runaway spending on all levels of government is there's so much duplication.
Oh, yeah.
Agencies were formed, they've grown over time, they actually don't even needed anymore. On the federal level, you ought to really start thinking about trying to shut down and close some of these monstrous bureaucratic organizations you have. What are your feelings on that?
Well, bureaucracy has gone right through the roof in every level of government over these last many years, these last several decades. But in the last 5 years, you've seen nothing like it. Labor, Health, and Human Services. Sure, we need some research done for healthcare issues, but you don't need to throw money, endless dollars at every single idea that somebody has. Within our Defense Department, not all of those programs are worthwhile and should continue to receive funding. We can cut back. In my own experience, in my own committee work, when I had a chance to chair some of these subcommittees, we literally eliminated dozens and dozens of programs that hadn't been working. There's a need for better oversight. The Congress has that responsibility, and in my judgment, is not doing it at this moment.
Thank you, Congressman, for
Yes.
being here this evening. We've all heard that it's impractical and to round up all the illegals and send them back. I totally agree with that. How about the idea of incentives for them to self-immigrate back to their own country? Incentives such as total denial of any employment, incentives such as seizure of their property illegally gained while they were here, denial of the possibility of any ever getting citizenship if they're ever caught here illegally.
Yeah.
Things like maybe a little bit of creative thought. I'm sure there's a lot of ideas out there.
There are a lot of ideas out there, and they should be applied to help us get a handle on this flow of illegals. Let me just share one with you. There is a program called E-Verify, in which employers essentially have to evaluate the circumstances of the people they're hiring and verify that they are here legally. That is now beginning to be required in a whole cross-section of employment across the country, and E-Verify in its original form was introduced by Congressman Ken Calvert just to herself and myself. So there are things we can do, but no simple answers.